Hello, and thank you for joining the CreativeGround webinar, How to Use CreativeGround to Find Collaborators and Explore Your Creative Community. My name is Ali, and today I'm going to be introducing you to CreativeGround and speaking specifically about how you can use CreativeGround's comprehensive search and explore functions to really get to know your community and find resources and other organizations and individuals for potential collaborations. So today I'm going to be giving you a brief introduction to CreativeGround. I'm going to show you how to search and find what you're looking for, how to use Explore to dig down and see what's happening in your community, how to get listed on CreativeGround, and then I'm going to give you more information about the New England Foundation for the Arts' many creative economy resources. So to start, CreativeGround is the New England Foundation for the Arts' free online directory for New England cultural nonprofits, such as museums and libraries, creative businesses, such as recording studios and marketing agencies, and artists, including performing artists, visual artists, and crafts. So the goals of CreativeGround are to spotlight profiles and provide a platform for organizations and individuals to promote what they do. And again, this is for New England. It also allows people to find others for potential collaborations. And finally, it's a database that is used to support any research reports that NEFA commissions about the arts and culture sector of New England. For those of you who are not familiar with those reports, I would encourage you to check those out on the NEFA website, and I'll show you where to find those later on in the presentation. So just to give you a little bit of background, CreativeGround is made up of profiles from the New England Foundation for the Arts' two former directories, CultureCount and Matchbook. CultureCount was made up of nonprofit organizations and occasionally performing and visual artists and was largely populated through 990 data. Matchbook was a directory of performing artists and venues. Those profiles were managed by users. So CreativeGround then is made up of profiles that are managed and regularly updated, and those that do not have a profile owner. So when we market CreativeGround, we're equally interested in finding owners of these profiles to start managing them and updating them as we are in having people create new profiles. So as mentioned, and specific to this workshop, CreativeGround provides a means for people both inside and outside of the art sector to explore CreativeGround to locate others for potential collaborations. So what do we mean by collaborations? This could mean something different to any organization, city planner, public artist, performing artist, organization. One organization collaborating with another on a creative economy initiative, for instance, could be an example of a collaboration. Or a city planner looking for a public artist to work together on an installation. Could also mean an artist collaborating with a gallery and some other artist on an exhibit. Performing artists looking for other performing artists to collaborate with on a show or a festival. And so the goal here is to connect these entities and to show you how to make that happen. And finally, CreativeGround is a product of the New England Foundation for the Arts in partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts and the 6 New England state arts agencies. So while many of you may be familiar with CreativeGround and how it works, I'm going to take a moment to just introduce you to the very basics of the site. So you should see in front of you, this is the homepage of CreativeGround. And you can see these different options. There's an About page. Here you can do a search, which I'll show you how to do, Explore, Get Involved gives you some more researches, and of course, Get Listed. So you'll see that we have the option to do a very basic search here, which I'll do in just a moment. And here are some featured profiles on the right-hand side. Every few weeks, we switch up these profiles and feature profiles for organizations and artists doing great work in New England who have really strong profiles. Scrolling down, you can see some more information about what we do. Here's some interesting creative economy statistics based on information in CreativeGround. And then some testimonials from some of our users. And going back up here, I'm going to show you there is an About page. And what's good about the About page is it really breaks down CreativeGround and shows different types of users how to use it. So there's basic information. Here's some more featured profiles on the right. And then you can see there's pages that are specific to cultural nonprofits, performing artists, visual artists, and creative businesses. So clicking on any of these links will lead to a page with tips and tricks for those cohorts and just the ways to make the best of CreativeGround. Then the resources page here, if we go to Get Involved, you can see there is a link here that says watch one of the recorded CreativeGround webinars, and you can see all of the past webinars that we have recorded. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at those. So I'm going to go back to the home page, and we're going to just start by doing a very basic search of CreativeGround. You can do a keyword search. I'm just going to search for the word advocacy for now. While I can select what type of profile or state I'm looking for, I'm just going to leave those blank and keep my search really broad. And this is going to bring up all profiles that have the word advocacy listed somewhere in there, either in the profile name or in the profile description. And so you can see, I'm just going to scroll down. This is the search results page. And these are all profiles that have the word advocacy, and it does prioritize them based on how many times the profile shows up in the the word shows up in the profile, whether it's in their profile name or in their actual profile description. So you can see there's 62 results total. And at the very top here, you'll see this very simple key. These are just some little icons that show you some snapshots. So somebody with this icon would have it be a NEFA grant recipient, an artist, cultural nonprofit. This is a creative business and a venue. So you'll see up here, there is a map that corresponds with the profiles that show up on this particular page. So this page is showing 10 profiles, but you can list up to 50. This map will correspond with that. So if I click here, you can see that Arts Worcester has the word advocacy somewhere in their profile. I could click on that and go to their profile. Further down, you can see we've got the Puerto Rican Institute for the Arts and Advocacy. They have a profile image. They have a profile name that you can click on to get to the profile. And then some very basic information, kind of just a little bit of a sneak preview. And we'll dig into these profiles a little bit later. I'll show you what they actually look like. So now that we've done a basic keyword search, I want to show you how to do a more in-depth search. And we can do that on the search page. So under advanced search, I'm going to scroll down through this very briefly and show you all of the different fields you can search by. So we saw institution, business type, activities and services, professional discipline, and you'll want to take some time and look at this yourself, kind of dig in and see what type of fields there are you can search by. Whether an artist is a Native American artist, if they're a touring artist, a teaching artist, if they have a venue, etc. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top here. I'm just going to briefly show you under institution business types. So these are the types of profiles that are in CreativeGround. So we have advertising marketing agencies, individual artists. We have design agencies, galleries, libraries. These are all different types of institutions that can be listed in CreativeGround. These institutions do any number of activities, so artist markets, arts instruction, performances or assemblies, public art projects, venue rentals, etc. And then under professional disciplines, this is where an entity or an artist can list sort of what their specialty is. So whether it's dance, design, humanities, literature, media, music, theater, visual crafts, and population served, etc. So let's say we're looking for a performing artist in Vermont who does folk music, who's looking to collaborate with other artists in their genre to put on a folk music festival. So let's do a search to kind of bring up those results. What we're going to do is we're going to start first by selecting Vermont, because we're looking in Vermont. And we're looking for individual artists or performing groups. It's fine either way. So I'm going to go back up here, and I know that there's two institution types. One is artist, individual, and there's also an institution type for performing groups. So this is where you really need to look through this list to see what your options are. So we've now selected what we're looking for. Now we want to know what it is that they do. So under professional disciplines, we're looking for musicians who do folk music. So I'm going to scroll back up to there. And find it here. And we're looking for musicians who do concerts or performances. So we can find that up here under concert, performance, reading, assembly. So let's go ahead and press search on those and see what that brings up. And we have a great list of artists based in Vermont who do folk music. And it's a wide range here. And we're looking at a total list of 21. So going back to the search page, there's a couple of other types of searches we could do. Let's say you're looking in Rhode Island for somebody who does manufacturing. You would select Rhode Island. Maybe you're an artist, you need somebody to help you fabricate something. So under activities and services, you would select manufacturing fabrication. So that's an example of a search that you could do. Let's do one more together. I am interested in finding parks and recreation departments that do public art projects, or parks that do public art projects. Under institution business type, I can actually find that institution. So I can see parks and recreation. And then I want to find public art projects. And there it is. So you want to familiarize yourself with the many, many different types of fields. All of the fields we just looked through show up in people's profiles. So the more you fill out in your profile, the more likely you come up in search results. So here are the examples that arise from that search, and there's 4. I'm going to now dig into an actual profile and show you what a profile looks like. So we're going to click here on the Rose Kennedy Greenway Conservancy. You can see these icons down here are telling us if it's a NEFA grant recipient, cultural nonprofit, and that they are a venue. So just to start, up here at the top, I want to just direct you to this link. This is a customized link, which means that if you were to copy and paste this into an email signature or put it on a business card, somebody can enter this URL into their browser and get directly to this profile. So some artists or creative businesses or organizations actually use CreativeGround as their website. It's free, it's easy to create, and it's pretty comprehensive. So rather than creating a full website, they just direct people to this to learn more about them. So the Rose Kennedy Greenway, you can see they have a fantastic image to start of a public art project that was done on in the park. Here they have a description of their work and what they do, some contact information, and this About section. This is a very, very important section because all of these fields are searchable, which means so they have selected that they do artist markets. So on advanced search, if somebody was looking for an organization that does artist markets, the Greenway would come up in search results. This is really important that you take the time if you're creating a profile and really fill out this information. Affiliations and accomplishments. They're a NEFA grant recipient. Here's information about their accessibility, that they provide accommodations for people who use wheelchairs. And then they have a venue, and they give more information about what that venue consists of and how people can use it. Now moving back up to the top here, there is an image and video gallery. So you can add up to 10 images or video. And here they actually show a very cool image of a sculpture that was installed recently at the Greenway, and it plays directly here. You can link to Vimeo or to YouTube here. Here's another video they have, as well as some images of some other work. You can see a similar theme being this is all the same structure. Here's some contact information. You can email them, access them on Twitter or Facebook. Here's their website. And this is a really interesting section unique to CreativeGround. We really like to emphasize the way that entities are collaborating in New England. And so they have listed out some of the different organizations they've worked with. This, for instance, is an artist who they commissioned work from. Artists for Humanities is an organization that they worked with, and this actually links directly to Artists for Humanities web profile on CreativeGround. Here's another artist that they've worked with. And so it's a great opportunity for you to list your collaborations. If you're a performing artist, you can list where you've done gigs. If you are a visual artist, you can list where you've exhibited your work. If you're an organization, who else have you worked for or worked with? It's a very, very dynamic opportunity for you to kind of describe what it is that you do. And you can add up to 25 partners. So surprisingly for some people, you may actually have a profile on CreativeGround, even if you don't know. It's brought over from the former directory, Culture Count, or Matchbook. If you find a profile on CreativeGround and you realize it belongs to you, but you don't actually manage it, you just need to go all the way to the very bottom of the profile and click on Request Management of this profile. That will send us a message. You need to create a user account first, but once you request management of the profile, it'll send us a message and we'll give you management and give you more information about how to update it. If you find a profile and it doesn't look quite right, maybe it doesn't look like it belongs in CreativeGround, or maybe you know it's out of business, you can flag the profile for review or submit a suggestion. Just send us a message with more information about why you think it should be flagged and what you think we should do about it. So that is an example of a profile for an organization. But of course, as you know, creative businesses and artists can also have profiles. All profiles look the same, everybody just fills it out differently. So for instance, this is a profile for a performing artist. And she has all the same fields filled out, she's just has different things listed. She also has listed that she's a touring artist, which is different from the previous profile we looked at, as well as a teaching artist. And then a visual artist profile. Similar fields. She's not a touring artist, so she doesn't have that information, but she is a teaching artist, so she's listed that. Now, in order to get listed on CreativeGround, all you need to do is create a free user account and create a profile. I would always search to make sure you don't have a profile first, and you can do that on the search page. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the details of how to create a profile. I'll give you kind of a brief overview. We do have a couple of webinars, one of them in particular, Introduction to CreativeGround, that gives a really good overview of how to get in there and create a profile on CreativeGround. So what we can do is we're going to go to Get Listed. And here, you can create a user account if you don't already have one. It's very basic information. You should know it, no problem. Once you create a CreativeGround user account, you can then create a profile. I already have one, so I'm actually going to log in. Now I'm in, and you can see all of the different profiles that I manage. I'm going to click on one that is a sample profile. Nifa Loves CreativeGround, obviously a profile that doesn't actually, it's not actually a real organization. So I'm going to click on Edit Profile so you can see what a profile looks like on the back end. And here you can see all the same fields that we just looked at on a public profile. I'm going to scroll through this slowly. And again, there's more information on how to fill out these fields and exactly what you want to be doing with our webinars. We have one for just general introduction to CreativeGround, but we also have a webinar for performing artists and for visual artists. And we'll have one soon for organizations as well. So Nifa Loves CreativeGround is a profile name. We've got the profile type. Here's where you can upload a profile image just by choosing a file from your computer, or you can there's information here about how to edit the photo if it's not quite the right size. Contact information. Here you can put a website, a Facebook link if you'd like to. Internal contact information is just for Nifa, it's not public. Address, physical address, streets, are not required, but the rest of the information is. And the mailing address, all information is required, but you can hide it from the public view. If you don't want to be receiving mail from people, we completely understand. Here's where you can enter your profile description, just a brief kind of introduction to who you are and what you do, making sure you really put in some keywords that you think people might use to search for you using the keyword search. So really think about that as you're writing that description. Some more information such as legal status, year founded, institution business type. If you're ever going through this list and you can't seem to find the institution business type that applies to you, just let us know. Feel free to email us. We're constantly revisiting this list. We're always interested in talking to people about other institutions we could add. We're very flexible. CreativeGround's 2 years old and we're still growing, so we look forward to hearing from you. The same goes for primary discipline. Everybody needs a primary discipline listed on their profile. It's just that kind of one thing you really identify with, but don't fret, you can add additional disciplines because we know in many cases artists and businesses and organizations do many more than one thing. Activities and services, population served, languages available. And if ever you're having any questions about how to fill out these particular fields, you can see there's comprehensive help text, often with links to more information. Image and video gallery. This is where you can add up to 10 images or video with a title and a caption. URL collection. You can list other links where people might find more information about you. Maybe if you're an artist, it's an Etsy page, or if you're a performing artist, maybe it's a SoundCloud, press release that you want people to see. It's very broad. I have worked with, this is a really cool part of CreativeGround. This is where you can list the different entities that you work with. So in this case, we've entered the New England Foundation for the Arts. They have a profile in CreativeGround, so you put it in this field. Very, very explicit instructions on how to fill out this field. Relationship date, and then a relationship description, just a brief description of what the relationship is. You can see we have some other partners listed in this section. Just gonna scroll down through here. Affiliations and accomplishments. This is where you can list if you're a NEFA grant recipient, if you're on a state arts agency roster. You should see the how to use CreativeGround as a teaching artist webinar to learn more information about that. Accessibility of services, touring artist information. So if you're a performing artist who does touring, you can fill out this section. There is a webinar specifically for performing artists who tour with more information about the New England Foundation for the Arts NEST grant program. So definitely check that one out. So you can see how to fill out this field. If you're a Native American artist, you can fill out this section. Teaching artist information. Again, there's a teaching artist webinar. So please check that out. And then if you have a venue, you can list information about that venue here. So that's really the basic kind of view of creating a profile. And if you have any questions as you're going through this, definitely just send us an email or give us a call or read the help text. There's a lot of help text that will help you figure out kind of how to fill this out in the way that you need to. So now that I have shown you that information, I want to show you another feature of CreativeGround that's really important for the purpose of sort of exploring your community. We've talked a little bit about finding collaborations, but now we want to talk about who else is at work in your community. What is it that they do, and what other kind of things are happening in your city. So you can do that by going to Explore. Search is where you sort of know what you're looking for and you're narrowing down, whereas Explore is much more about exploring, literally exploring your community. So what we do is we start with all 30,000 profiles, or to be clear, 29,903 profiles in CreativeGround. All the profiles are listed here. And on the left-hand side, which I'm going to zoom in on, you can start to quantify that. So there's 4,681 profiles in Connecticut, 11,000 in Massachusetts, 2,900 in Vermont, etc. And then you can continue to dig down a little bit. There's 38 arts camps or institutes, 100 profiles that indicate they do ballet as their primary discipline, 123 organizations or artists who do arts and healthcare. So it's a great way for you to get a big picture of what's happening in New England in general. But you can also narrow down more specifically by state and then by city. So let's click on Maine. Let's say we're looking for all the entities that exist in CreativeGround in Bangor. So once we click on that, you can see all of the cities are listed, many, many cities in Maine, and I'm going to locate Bangor. 201 profiles in CreativeGround from Bangor. Press apply, and all of those profiles are going to come up in these search results. And then on the left-hand side, you can start to dig down. So there's 67 artists. There are 8 art service organizations, 9 libraries, or library-related entities. Arts instruction, there's one profile that has listed that they do arts instruction. Keep in mind, there's many more profiles in CreativeGround that do arts instruction. They may not have filled that field out in their profile, which is why it's not appearing. Definitely something to keep in mind as you're filling out your own. So you can see it's a really great way to quantify what's happening in your area. And this can be useful for advocacy purposes. So let's say you are trying to appeal to your city departments to increase funding for the arts or to just acknowledge it in some way. This is a great way for you to say, look what's happening in our community. But additionally, you could use CreativeGround as your community's arts directory. So once you've gone through and you have marketed CreativeGround to all the entities that exist in your region and you've helped us clean up any profiles that maybe shouldn't be in here, you can then link directly to this customized link right here, and it will lead people to just profiles that exist in Bangor. So it's your community directory. We do have a webinar that will be happening that's specifically about using CreativeGround as your directory and kind of how we work with you to make that possible. So definitely stay tuned for that. So this is a great tool for exploring. Like we said, you can explore, you can search, and then under the Get Involved page, I'll just show you there is a little bit more information about kind of how to use CreativeGround, watching one of the other webinars. Here's some handouts that we have created that you can pass along to your colleagues and partners to help them learn more about CreativeGround. Some logos if you wanted to put CreativeGround on your website. And then NEFA, so the New England Foundation for the Arts, has some really great resources. There are quite a few grant programs that might appeal to you. We have a blog as well as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn page. We have events, so definitely check us out and see what we're doing. Now, before we close, I actually want to direct you to the New England Foundation for the Arts website to show you more about some of the different creative economy resources we have. So we can actually go up here to the very top, click on NEFA, and this is going to bring us directly to NEFA's page. So here you can see there is a whole section devoted to creative economy, information about the research papers that we have done, any sort of meetings or events that we have coming up for the Creative Economy Network, for instance, of course, a link to CreativeGround, and then community initiatives. So if we click on research and data, this will lead you to all of the different types of reports that NEFA has commissioned. So here we have cultural nonprofit economic impact reports, and you can download those to learn more about that research. Additionally, if you go to community initiatives, This is a very cool resource because what it does is it highlights some organizations in New England who are doing really, really unique things in their community for creative economy initiatives. More often than not, they're always working with someone else, whether it's cross-sector or within the arts sector. It's all about partnerships. So you can search by keyword, by state, any of these tags, and really start to kind of dig into what some of these organizations are doing in their community. It's a great way to sort of model some initiatives in your own community, to meet others doing great things. Maybe you can work with them, just to get a sense of what's going on out there. And then meetings and events. You can keep an eye out to see if there are any events coming up for the Creative Economy Network. We have roughly quarterly events, whether it's a webinar or an in-person event where people come together and network and learn about creative economy topics of interest. And finally, there is an event that happens every other year called CCX, which is the Creative Communities Exchange, and it brings people from all over New England together to really do some in-person networking about creative economy, watch some great workshops and learn about what people are up to. You can network and learn some very specific skills as you're at this workshop and conference. So do please keep an eye out for that. That will be coming up again in 2017. So in closing, just wanted to let you know that you can contact us at CreativeGround at any point at creativeground@nefa.org with any questions. I'm here to help people fill out your profile or find others or kind of explore other ways that you can use CreativeGround in your community. So I hope this was helpful for you to learn about how to find others for potential collaborations, how to get listed yourself, and how to explore your community. Please do look at our other webinars if you have other topics that you would like to learn about. And if you see there is something that you'd like to learn about that's not being covered by a webinar, just let us know. All right, thank you very much for joining us today, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.